Stephen Akintayo once said that the rich, before they invest in something, they first of all invest in the knowledge of that thing before they venture into the investment. But on the other hand, the poor, they just go ahead to make their investment without investing in the knowledge of the investment they want to embark on. So now this leads us to real estate in Nigeria. So before you buy any land or property as in that regard, it is important for you to do your due diligence, or better still, contact an expert, a legal practitioner, to help you respect to that due diligence searches or investigation, as the case may be. So one of such ways of going about it is simply by conducting searches in the relevant governmental parastatals. So first and foremost, many people go ahead buying land, buying properties in different places, and they just relied on the document that they are being given to. However, this shouldn't be the case, because things pertaining to real estate and property transactions, it encompasses more than just the papers. All right, papers can be forged, certificates can be forged, all right, but there are things that cannot be forged no matter what. So before you buy a land, you should at least conduct search in different places. One of such places is the land registry. So the land registry, or otherwise referred to as the land bureau, is simply the governmental parastatal that is in charge of registration of land and so on and so forth. So what we do as lawyers is that in order for you to embark on investigations as regards whether that property you are buying is real or not, we help you make searches in those places. Okay, now there are persons who have gotten lands, and after using the land for quite some time, they discover that there are disputes in that land. I have a person who bought a particular plot of land without conducting any due diligence or investigations in that regards, and as time went on, we discovered that that land has been sold to several persons before. As a matter of fact, at the time of buying that land, he discovered that he didn't know that the land was actually a litigation land, meaning that the land has a case in court. There's a case in court on that land. It's a pending litigation, that particular land. There's a case in court in determining the true ownership of that land, and yet he went to buy the land. So if eventually the case actually falls in the favor of the other party, then he has lost that land automatically. And if he eventually have buildings on that land, I'm sure that he has lost the building, because there's a principle in law which says that quid plantator, solo sed it. What it means is that the person who owns a land owns everything on the land, from the soil down from the soil and up in the skies. So if you eventually buy a land that is not yours, and you hurriedly go there and erect a building there, once the true owner comes to that place, not the land automatically becomes that of the true owner, as well as the building, because he who has the land has everything on it. Both if there's fruit on it, he is the owner of the fruit. If there is even up to the sky, that's what the law says. The law is the law, though there are exceptions to this rule, but today I won't be relying on the exceptions. I'll be talking briefly about the general rule, which I just stated earlier on. Okay, and at times there are people who go about buying land like the one I've experienced before. The man bought land, he has paid for the land, and he has even gotten a deed of assignment before consulting us to help him carry out rigorous research in a bid to ascertain the true owner of that land. So we swung into action only for us to discover that the land has been used to obtain loan from a financial parastatal. So what this means is that if the first owner who sold it to that person is unable to make payment for that loan, that land will be taken and be used to offset the loan payments. Okay, imagine buying a land that has been used to obtain loan from a bank or any financial institution. Just think about it. That is why it is important for you to conduct due diligence in respect of buying properties. It is very, very important. If you notice, I start with a quote that rich people, before they venture into investment, they ensure that they invest in the knowledge of that investment. That's why you hardly see rich people falling scams to all these on money, because they have the best of the best. They invest in knowledge. A rich person would rather use millions of naira to invest in knowledge of something they want to invest in than investing in that thing and then losing everything entirely. You keep asking yourself, why do these rich people keep getting richer and richer every day? It is because of all these things you overlook. If it's a poor person, they will be like, oh, why would I pay such amount of money for investigation? How much am I buying the land for? But they are not seeing the big picture. We are trying to help you avoid issues like that. Land is a complicated transaction, and you have to take due diligence to ensure you get the best. Otherwise, you'll be sitting on a time bomb which can explode anytime. All right. So there are many scams issues as regards to land, and there are people who eventually come to us in a bid for us to help them carry out investigation on the land, and they still come back here to price us, to price as if they are doing us a favor. No, you are not doing us a favor. If you are looking at it from the big picture, we are the ones that are doing you a favor. Okay? Because if you eventually go there to buy a land that is encumbered, by encumbered I mean a land that has some defect, maybe defect in title, maybe the owner that sold it to you is not the true owner, or the land has some issues like it has been used to collect loan, or it's a family land that was sold to you without the consent of the family head and the principal members of the family, then it means that the land, you have issues with the land. You keep settling and settling. That's if you don't lose the land. So I'll be stating some things briefly now. There are some things you have to put into consideration if you are buying land. If you are buying land that belongs to a family, maybe a family, you should ensure that the person selling that land to you happens to be either the head of the family or a principal member of the family. Now, this is what the law says. The law says that for a family to sell their land to you, the family head as well as the principal members of the family should give their consent, which means that they should agree to that sales of the land. All right. If, for instance, someone who claims to be the family head now comes to you and sells the land to you without the authority and the consent from the principal members of that family, that transaction is void. And by void, it means that transaction is invalid. It is invalid. So the family members can come and reclaim that land, and there's nothing you can do absolutely about it. At most, the only thing you can do is to hold the person that sold that land to you. That's it. There's nothing else you can do again. All right. So you should be careful if you are buying land from a community. Ensure that the people giving you that consent, selling the land to you, are not just random people in the community, but they are probably chiefs and even the ballet and so on and so forth. And they should be consent from the authorities of that community. All right. These little things are things you should put into consideration before buying land or properties in Nigeria. There are so many scams out there. So many scams out there. Okay. Now, after getting the land or purchasing the land, the next thing to do is to authenticate your ownership on that land. And how do you go about doing that? You simply do that by perfecting your titles, taking possession. It is very important. If you buy a land, the first thing you should do after getting all the document is to take possession. And how do you take possession? Possession basically means you going to that land, maybe doing some things on the land that shows that you are actually the owner of that land. Such as, if you buy a virgin land now, you can go there and clear the land, erect probably a gate or fence the land. Those are ways we prove possession, like we take possession. All right, clearing the land, fencing the land, as the case may be, or even erecting security posts on the land, or even cultivating on the land. Those are part of the ways of taking possession. So when you buy land, don't just let it be like that. Take possession, do something on the land, so that when people come there, or eventually when an Omolile comes to sell the land, they will know that the person that's selling that land to will know that there's someone in that land. And this raises an eyebrow for the person to go and make inquiries as regards to that ownership of land. You can even put I don't know if you must have come across some properties where they will be like, this property is not for sale, this land is not for sale. You can even put a caveat. All right, the caveat means, you know, you are trying to warn the public that you are not selling this land, so put it there, put it there. All these are ways you safeguard your land. All right, having said that, you agree with me that no matter what you think you know about land, there are things that you may not necessarily know, because they are, in terms of property transaction, they are experts in that field. I've heard several people saying that when they come to us for property verification and purchase, they keep telling us that they are going to get back to us. They want to speak to their father, their brother, their sisters. And funny enough, these people, they may have your best interest in heart, but how do they know that this property is legit when they are not experts in that field? You understand? They might even tell you to buy those properties, and having bought those properties, you discover that the properties have some defect in title and other encumbrances that you may not have even seen. So, in as much as your family members, your friends and well-wishers, they have your best interest in heart, but they can only do or provide advice based on their knowledge in that particular property or that particular aspect of it. So they cannot give what they don't have. It's when you have the required knowledge, that's when you'll be able to give such knowledge. All right, so my candid advice is that before you buy a property, ensure you do your due diligence search. You can do it yourself. You can consult a legal expert, property lawyer, to help you with all these things. All right, you can. So it all depends on you, solely you. Okay, so having said that, in case if you are interested in buying any land whatsoever, we sell properties in Lagos, in Anambra, in just all over Nigeria. We sell properties, and these properties have been duly researched on. We've conducted rigorous search on those properties to ascertain the authenticity and veracity of these properties, which means that they are perfect, they are defect, they have no defect in title, they passes good title to the buyer whatsoever. These are properties that you buy and will eventually give you high return on investment. So if you're interested in purchasing property from us, or you are interested in seeking any of our services as regards to we helping you verify your property or ascertain whether your properties are genuine or free from defect, do well to contact us. All right, so hope to see you soon. Thank you.